Whoa. Do you guys want to see something really freaky? Guys, a very interesting, albeit creepy find has arisen from the depths of Twitter, where it concerns Kingdom Hearts 3, the Remind DLC, the Limit Cut episode, and specifically the boss fight against young Xehanort. First and foremost, I gotta give huge thanks, all the credit to Zeke C for finding this and posting it on Twitter. I'm gonna leave a link to their Twitter handle in the description box below. And if you saw the title and thumbnail, it has to deal with the concept of Sora's Bloodshot gazing eyes. Now, this is extremely freaky. When I first saw this on Twitter, I'm like, okay, there's more likely a glitch, but man, the amount of creepypasta material that's here in the span of like 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds, is amazing. Like, where's Echovald when you need him? Like, this is straight up creepy. What I'm talking about is a glitch that can be performed when you're fighting young Xehanort in the Limit Cut fight. What you do is that you have to whittle his health all the way down to near zero, where he activates his final DM, his final desperation move. And then when he freezes time, if you pull out your gummy phone camera, make sure to have it in selfie mode, alright? Selfie mode. When you pull out your gummy phone camera, for some weird reason, the camera zooms into young Xehanort and pushes Sora to the edge of the arena, right? But while it's pushing you to the edge, you have to make sure you take out your gummy phone again. When you do, obviously it's going to have Sora in selfie mode. But for like a second and a half, 2 seconds, a very, very small but noticeable amount of time, Sora's eyes will go from his regular blue, clean eyes to a bloodshot red, like red around the iris. And his iris are now, his pupils I should say, are now slits, where it's very blue with a tinge of green. Very similar to that of the gazing eye on the no-name Keyblades and everything similar to that. It's like Sora himself have bloodshot gazing eyes. Okay, now first and foremost, before I continue on with this video, this is more likely a glitch, like 90% chance a glitch. But then again, there's a very small percentage that this could be an Easter egg that was slipped in by Nomura and the team, because it's not out of the question for video game developers to slip something in that's not supposed to be noticed. But when you notice, surprise, you found literally the Easter egg, and it could have no meaning behind this. But that's my rational side. When it comes to my theory side, it can get pretty wild. But then thinking about everything, the bloodshot eyes are obviously the eye makeup that is used for Sora when he's crying or sad within the game. As we see, when characters cry, their eyes get bloodshot when they're full of tears, which is a very extremely nice touch they added to when Terra cries, when Lee cries, when Sora cries. It's a very nice touch. So it seems that the bloodshot eyes are, you know, basically in line with that. So it could be something within the code that triggers that. But that does not explain the slits when it comes to the eyes of Sora, which definitely mirrors that and looks just like the gazing eyes. And I was able to actually perform this myself. Check it out.
Time is a cruel prison. Go!
So it's not like this was an edit. If you're able to do it, I mean, the window is pretty lenient. Try it out for yourselves. It's able to be done. The way Zeke C was able to capture it, Sora was frowning, but the way I was able to capture it, Sora was smiling, which is a little bit more freaky. Now, this has opened the floodgates for a number of theories surrounding that of creepypastas of Sora seeing the future and seeing a very bad future for himself, to the point where he's crying, a very dastardly future, death, the death of his friends, the death of Kairi, what happens to him, what happens to Kairi, what happens to Raikou, what happens to young Xehanort, looking into young Xehanort's past. There are so many possibilities on what Sora saw that allowed him to have these eyes, or at least bloodshot eyes, right? That's one take. Another take that a lot of people have been messing around with, and people's been messing around with since the dawn of time, is that Sora could be the Master of Masters, or the Master of Masters could be an older Sora, someplace displaced in time. I fiddled around with that theory myself about the one true sky theory, and the fact that Sora is able to get these eyes through a glitch does not help. You know, like, me looking at this game and all that good jazz, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I get the Bloodshot thing, that's something within the code, but never have we seen messed around with Sora's, you know, eyes or persona, or, you know, look where we see him have the slit eyes of the gazing eye, which is, it's incredibly freaky. It's super freaky. There's theories that young Xehanort in this fight showed him something he did not want to see, kind of like how young Xehanort saw stuff that he did not want to see on his initial journey to become a Keyblade Master, or trained to become a Keyblade Master, when he came into contact with the Master of Masters. And as we all know, the Master of Masters placed his eye, the gazing eye, into the no-name Keyblade in order to give to Lushu so that his eye could see the future and that he could write down in the Book of Prophecies. And the fact that Sora is able to get this eye is just, man, oh man. Like, literally, logically, I can't explain, like, maybe there's something in the code that triggered the fact that an eye that is supposed to belong to a Keyblade, that design wound up on the main character's eye that you play in a fight that, of course, the eye is, you know, the eye is on young Xehanort's Keyblade. You know, it's a version of No Name, but it's not straight up the No Name. The eye is on young Xehanort's Keyblade, and it's able to go to Sora's straight up eyes. Like, how is the game gonna, like, you know, recognize A to B to, like, okay, then Sora's eyes should have this, you know, something in the code's telling us, like, you know, render Sora's eyes as this. And, you know, the fact that Sora's eyes are actually bloodshot while this is happening does not help at all. Now, one huge theory that I had about this in relation to time, the bloodshot eyes, well, not the bloodshot eyes, but I mean the gazing eyes being triggered within Sora, is something along these lines, where obviously the Master of Masters and the no-name Keyblade deals with the aspect of time, not as lenient as time travel as young Xehanort does it, but it's meant to record everything seen throughout time, you know, in real time, back to the Master of Masters' own displaced time during the time of Union Cross, in order to allow him to write the Book of Prophecies, right? So whenever a form of this Keyblade, because it's argued that the no-name that young Xehanort wields, which is not exactly the no-name that we see Master Xehanort wields, it is a form of that Keyblade, you know, thus young Xehanort being a form of all Xehanorts and whatnot. It has the goat, it has the gazing eye, but it's not quite. However, we are bridging that gap, we are making that link between the Keyblades. So whenever a Keyblade that would have a gazing eye is, you know, combined with the power of time, which young Xehanort has, whenever that something like that is triggered, it activates or awakens something within Sora that allows him to take on the appearance of someone who he once was or is going to be. And in that sense, if Sora is awakening or realizing who he might turn out to be, and the events are as tragic as we think it is when it comes to Sora and the Master of Masters relationship, or, you know, oneness, then Sora might not like that future, which would explain the bloodshot aspect of the eyes, and then the gazing eyes would explain his relationship to the Master of Masters. So the gazing eye shows that Sora is destined to be part of the Master of Masters' destiny, but seeing that destiny is something Sora does not like, and it makes him swell up for that specific moment in time. But just like how quickly it happens and how quickly it goes away, it's all relative when it comes to the passage and flow of time, and it's just all over the place. And man, oh man, can I say, this is incredibly creepy. It's literally, it looks like a creepypasta waiting to happen. This, along with the Sora corpse theory that has been, you know, risen. I see you, Miss Tenebrae. Noctis is my king. I'm gonna leave a link to her Twitter in the description box below. I see you. These theories, they're messed up. I love them, but man, they're messed up. I want to know what you guys think about Sora's bloodshot gazing eyes. Go and try and test it for yourself before Square Enix gets wind and decides to patch it out. Do you think Nomura left this on purpose, or do you think it's something within the code that just triggered when the right aspects were just going together when it comes to the code? Leave your thoughts, theories, and comments in the comment section below, and be sure to like, favorite, and most always subscribe to HMK for more videos like this in the 5th dimension. This is straight up 5th dimension speak we have. And once again, big thanks to Zeke C for discovering this, leaving a link to their Twitter in the description box below. So until the next message from the gazing eyes, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.
So you haven't subscribed to HMK yet? Don't piss Xemnas off.